11. To Sri Alasinga Perumal, care of Babu Madhusudan Chattopadhyay, Superintending Engineer, Khartabad, Hyderabad, 11th February 1893. Dear Alasinga, your friend, the young graduate, came to receive me at the station, so also a Bengali gentleman. At present, I am living with the Bengali gentleman. Tomorrow, I go to live with your young friend for a few days, and then I see the different sights here. And in a few days, you may expect me at Madras. For I am very sorry to tell you that I cannot go back at present to Rajputana. It is so very dreadfully hot here already. I do not know how hot it would be at Rajputana, and I cannot bear heat at all. So the next thing I would do would be to go back to Bangalore and then to Utakmand to pass the summer there. My brain boils in heat. So all my plans have been dashed to the ground. That is why I wanted to hurry off from Madras early. In that case, I would have months left in my hands to seek out for somebody amongst our northern princes to send me over to America. But alas, it is now too late. First, I cannot wander about in this heat. I would die. Secondly, my fast friends in Rajputana would keep me bound down to their sides if they get hold of me and would not let me go over to Europe. So my plan was to get hold of some new person without my friend's knowledge. But this delay at Madras has dashed all my hopes to the ground, and with a deep sigh I give it up, and the Lord's will be done. However, you may be almost sure that I shall see you in a few days for a day or two in Madras and then go to Bangalore and thence to Uttakamand to see if the Maharaja sends me up. If, because you see, I cannot be sure of any promise of a Dakshini, Southern Raja. They are not Rajputs. A Rajput would rather die than break his promise. However, man learns as he lives, and experience is the greatest teacher in the world. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. For thine is the glory and the kingdom forever and ever. My compliments to you all. Yours, etc., Sachidananda. 12. To Sri Haridas Viharidas Desai, Khetri, 28th April 1893. Dear Devanji Sahib, on my way here, I wanted to go to your place at Nadiad and redeem my pledge, but certain circumstances prevented me, and the greatest of them was that you were not there. And to play Hamlet, leaving Hamlet's part out, is a ridiculous affair. And as I know for certain that you are to return in a few days to Nadiad, and as I am shortly going back to Bombay, say in 20 days, I thought it better to postpone my visit for that time. Here the Khetri Rajaji was very anxious to see me and had sent his private secretary to Madras, and so I was bound to leave for Khetri. But the heat is quite intolerable, and so I am flying off very soon. By and by, I have made the acquaintances of nearly all the Dakshini Rajas and have seen most queer sights in many places, of which I would tell you in extenso when we meet next. I know your love for me and am sure that you would excuse my not going down to your place. However, I am coming to you in a few days. One thing more. Have you got lions' cubs now in Junagadh? Can you lend me one for my Raja? He can give you some Rajputana animals in exchange if you like. I saw Ratilal Bhai in the train. He is the same nice and kind gentleman. And what more shall I wish for you, my dear Devanji Sahib, but that the Lord would be your all in your well-merited, well-applauded, and universally respected latter end of a life which was ever holy, good, and devoted to the service of so many of the sons and daughters of the great Father of Mercies. Amen. Yours affectionately, Vivekananda. 13. To Sri Haridas Viharidas Desai, Khetri, May 1893. Dear Devanji Sahib, surely my letter had not reached you before you wrote to me. The perusal of your letter gave me both pleasure and pain simultaneously. Pleasure to see that I have the good fortune to be loved by a man of your heart, power, and position, and pain to see that my motive has been misinterpreted throughout. Believe me, that I love you and respect you like a father, and that my gratitude towards you and your family is surely unbounded. The fact is this: you may remember that I had from before a desire to go to Chicago. When at Madras, the people there of their own accord, in conjunction with H.H. of Mysore and Ramnad, made every arrangement to send me up. And you may also remember that between H.H. of Khetri and myself, there are the closest ties of love. Well, I, as a matter of course, wrote to him that I was going to America. Now the Raja of Khetri thought in his love that I was bound to see him once before I departed, especially as the Lord has given him an heir to the throne, and great rejoicings were going on here. And to make sure of my coming, he sent his private secretary all the way to Madras to fetch me, and of course I was bound to come. In the meanwhile, I telegraphed to your brother at Nadia to know whether you were there, and unfortunately, the answer I could not get. Therefore, the secretary, who, poor fellow, had suffered terribly for his master in going to and from Madras, and with his eye wholly on the fact that his master would be unhappy if we could not reach Khetri within the Jalsa festival, bought tickets at once for Jaipur. On our way, we met Mr. Ratilal, who informed me that my wire was received and duly answered, and that Mr. Viharidas was expecting me. Now it is for you to judge, whose duty it has been so long to deal even justice. What would or could I do in this connection? If I would have got down, I could not have reached in time for the Khetri rejoicings. On the other hand, my motives might be misinterpreted. But I know you and your brother's love for me, and I knew also that I would have to go back to Bombay in a few days on my way to Chicago. I thought that the best solution was to postpone my visit till my return. As for my feeling affronted at not being attended by your brothers, it is a new discovery of yours which I never even dreamt of. Or God knows, perhaps you have become a thought reader. Jokes apart, my dear Divanji Sahib, I am the same frolicsome, mischievous, but I assure you innocent boy. You found me at Junagadh, and my love for your noble self is the same or increased 100-fold, because I have had a mental comparison between yourself and the Diwans of nearly all the states in Dakshin, and the Lord be my witness how my tongue was fluent in your praise, although I know that my powers are quite inadequate to estimate your noble qualities in every southern court. If this be not a sufficient explanation, I implore you to pardon me as a father pardons a son, and let me not be haunted with the impression that I was ever ungrateful to one who was so good to me. Yours, Vivekananda. P.S. I depend on you to remove any misconception in the mind of your brother about my not getting down, and that, even had I been the very devil, I could not forget their kindness and good offices for me. As to the other two Swamis, they were my Guru Bhais, who went to you last at Junagadh. Of them, one is our leader. I met them after 3 years, and we came together as far as Abu, and then I left them. If you wish, I can take them back to Nadiad on my way to Bombay. May the Lord shower his blessings on you and yours. Yours, V. 14. To Sri Haridas Viharidas Desai, Bombay, 22nd May 1893. Dear Divanji Sahib, reached Bombay a few days ago and would start off in a few days. Your friend, the Bania gentleman to whom you wrote for the house accommodation, writes to say that his house is already full of guests and some of them are ill, and that he is very sorry he cannot accommodate me. After all, we have got a nice airy place. The private secretary of H.H. of Khetri and I are now residing together. I cannot express my gratitude to him for his love and kindness to me. He is what they call a Tazimi Sardar in Rajputana, that is, one of those whom the Rajas receive by rising from their seats. Still, he is so simple, and sometimes his service for me makes me almost ashamed. Often and often, we see that the very best of men even are troubled and visited with tribulations in this world. It may be inexplicable, but it is also the experience of my life that the heart and core of everything here is good, that whatever may be the surface waves, deep down and underlying everything, there is an infinite basis of goodness and love. And so long as we do not reach that basis, we are troubled. But having once reached that zone of calmness, let winds howl and tempests rage. The house which is built on a rock of ages cannot shake. I thoroughly believe that a good, unselfish, and holy man like you, whose whole life has been devoted to doing good to others, has already reached this basis of firmness which the Lord himself has styled as rest upon Brahman in the Gita. May the blows you have received draw you closer to that being who is the only one to be loved here and hereafter, so that you may realize him in everything past, present, and future, and find everything present or lost in him and him alone. Amen. Yours affectionately, Vivekananda. 15. To Sri Haridas Viharidas Desai, Chicago, 29th January 1894. Dear Divanji Sahib, your last letter reached me a few days ago. You had been to see my poor mother and brothers. I am glad you did, but you have touched the only soft place in my heart. You ought to know, Divanji, that I am no hard-hearted brute. If there is any being I love in the whole world, it is my mother. Yet I believed and still believe that without my giving up the world, the great mission which Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, my great master, came to preach would not see the light. And where would those young men be who have stood as bulwarks against the surging waves of materialism and luxury of the day? These have done a great amount of good to India, especially to Bengal, and this is only the beginning. With the Lord's help, they will do things for which the whole world will bless them for ages. So, on the one hand, my vision of the future of Indian religion and that of the whole world, my love for the millions of beings sinking down and down for ages with nobody to help them, nay, nobody with even a thought for them. On the other hand, making those who are nearest and dearest to me miserable. I choose the former. Lord will do the rest. He is with me. I am sure of that, if of anything. So long as I am sincere, nothing can resist me, because He will be my help. Many and many in India could not understand me, and how could they, poor men? Their thoughts never strayed beyond the everyday routine business of eating and drinking. I know only a few noble souls like yourself appreciate me. Lord bless your noble self. But appreciation or no appreciation, I am born to organize these young men. Nay, hundreds more in every city are ready to join me, and I want to send them rolling like irresistible waves over India, bringing comfort, morality, religion, education to the doors of the meanest and the most downtrodden. And this I will do or die. Our people have no idea, no appreciation. On the other hand, that horrible jealousy and suspicious nature which is the natural outcome of 1,000 years of slavery make them stand as enemies to every new idea. Still the Lord is great. About the arati as well as other things you speak of, it is the form in every one of the monasteries in all parts of India, and the worshipping of Guru is the first duty inculcated in the Vedas. It has its bad and good sides. But you must remember we are a unique company. Nobody amongst us has a right to force his faith upon the others. Many of us do not believe in any form of idolatry, but they have no right to object when others do it, because that would break the first principle of our religion. Again, God can only be known in and through man. Vibrations of light are everywhere, even in the darkest corners, but it is only in the lamp that it becomes visible to man. Similarly, God, though everywhere, we can only conceive Him as a big man. All ideas of God such as merciful preserver, helper, protector, all these are human ideas, anthropomorphic, and again these must cling to a man. Call him a guru or a prophet or an incarnation. Man cannot go beyond his nature, no more than you can jump out of your body. What harm is there in some people worshipping their guru when that guru was 100 times more holy than even your historical prophets all taken together? If there is no harm in worshipping Christ, Krishna, or Buddha, why should there be any in worshipping this man who never did or thought anything unholy, whose intellect only through intuition stands head and shoulders above all the other prophets because they were all one-sided? It was he that brought first to the world this idea of truth, not in but of every religion, which is gaining ground all over the world, and that without the help of science or philosophy or any other acquirement. But even this is not compulsory. None of the brethren has told you that all must worship his guru. No, no, no. But again, none of us has a right to object when another worships. Why? Because that would overthrow this most unique society the world has ever seen. 10 men of 10 different notions and ideas living in perfect harmony. Wait, Divanji. The Lord is great and merciful. You will see more. We do not only tolerate but accept every religion, and with the Lord's help, I am trying to preach it to the whole world. 3 things are necessary to make every man great, every nation great. 1. Conviction of the powers of goodness. 2. Absence of jealousy and suspicion. 3. Helping all who are trying to be and do good. Why should the Hindu nation with all its wonderful intelligence and other things have gone to pieces? I would answer you, jealousy. Never were there people more wretchedly jealous of one another, more envious of one another's fame and name than this wretched Hindu race. And if you ever come out in the West, the absence of this is the first feeling which you will see in the Western nations. 3 men cannot act in concert together in India for 5 minutes. Each one struggles for power, and in the long run, the whole organization comes to grief. Lord, Lord, when will we learn not to be jealous? In such a nation, and especially in Bengal, to create a band of men who are tied and bound together with a most undying love in spite of difference, is it not wonderful? This band will increase. This idea of wonderful liberality joined with eternal energy and progress must spread over India. It must electrify the whole nation and must enter the very pores of society, in spite of the horrible ignorance, spite, caste feeling, old boobyism, and jealousy which are the heritage of this nation of slaves. You are one of the few noble natures who stand as rocks out of water in this sea of universal stagnation. Lord bless you forever and ever. Yours ever faithfully, Vivekananda. 16. To the Hale Sisters, Detroit, 12th March, 1894. Dear Sisters, I am now living with Mr. Palmer. He is a very nice gentleman. He gave a dinner the night before last to a group of his old friends, each more than 60 years of age, which he calls his Old Boys Club. I spoke at an opera house for 2 hours and a half. People were very much pleased. I am going to Boston and New York. I will get here sufficient to cover my expenses there. I have forgotten the addresses of both Flagg and Professor Wright. I am not going to lecture in Michigan. Mr. Holden tried to persuade me this morning to lecture in Michigan, but I am quite bent upon seeing a little of Boston and New York. To tell you the truth, the more I am getting popularity and facility in speaking, the more I am getting fed up. My last address was the best I ever delivered. Mr. Palmer was in ecstasies and the audience remained almost spellbound. So much so that it was after the lecture that I found I had spoken so long. A speaker always feels the uneasiness or inattention of the audience. Lord save me from such nonsense. I am fed up. I would take rest in Boston or New York if the Lord permits. My love to you all. May you ever be happy. Your affectionate brother, Vivekananda. 17. To the Hale Sisters, Detroit, 15th March 1894. Dear babies, I am pulling on well with old Palmer. He is a very jolly, good old man. I got only $127 by my last lecture. I am going to speak again in Detroit on Monday. Your mother asked me to write to a lady in Lynn. I have never seen her. Is it etiquette to write without any introduction? Please post me a little letter about this lady. Where is Lynn? The funniest thing said about me here was in one of the papers which said, "The cyclonic Hindu has come and is a guest with Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer has become a Hindu and is going to India. Only he insists that 2 reforms should be carried out. Firstly, that the car of Jagannath should be drawn by Percherons raised in Mr. Palmer's loghouse farm, and secondly, that the Jersey cow be admitted into the pantheon of Hindu sacred cows." Mr. Palmer is passionately fond of both Percheron horse and Jersey cow and has a great stock of both in his loghouse farm. The first lecture was not properly managed, the cost of the hall being $150. I have given up Holden. Here is another fellow cropped up. Let me see if he does better. Mr. Palmer makes me laugh the whole day. Tomorrow there is going to be another dinner party. So far, all is well. But I do not know. I have become very sad in my heart since I am here. Do not know why. I am wearied of lecturing and all that nonsense. This mixing with hundreds of varieties of the human animal has disturbed me. I will tell you what is to my taste. I cannot write, and I cannot speak, but I can think deeply, and when I am heated, can speak fire. It should be, however, to a very select few. Let them, if they will, carry and scatter my ideas broadcast, not I. This is only a just division of labor. The same man never succeeded both in thinking and in scattering his thoughts. A man should be free to think, especially spiritual thoughts. Just because this assertion of independence, this proving that a man is not a machine, is the essence of all religious thought, it is impossible to think it in the routine mechanical way. It is this tendency to bring everything down to the level of a machine that has given the West its wonderful prosperity. And it is this which has driven away all religion from its doors. Even the little that is left, the West has reduced to a systematic drill. I am really not cyclonic at all. Far from it. What I want is not here, nor can I longer bear this cyclonic atmosphere. This is the way to perfection, to strive to be perfect, and to strive to make perfect a few men and women. My idea of doing good is this: to evolve out a few giants, and not to strew pearls before swine, and so lose time, health, and energy. Just now I got a letter from Flagg. He cannot help me in lecturing. He says, first go to Boston. Well, I do not care for lecturing anymore. It is too disgusting, this attempt to bring me to suit anybody's or any audience's fads. However, I shall come back to Chicago for a day or two at least before I go out of this country. Lord bless you all. Ever gratefully your brother, Vivekananda. 18. To Miss Mary Hale, Detroit, 18th March 1894. Dear Sister Mary, my heartfelt thanks for your kindly sending me the letter from Calcutta. It was from my brethren at Calcutta, and it is written on the occasion of a private invitation to celebrate the birthday of my master, about whom you have heard so much from me. So I sent it over to you. The letter says that Mazumdar has gone back to Calcutta and is preaching that Vivekananda is committing every sin under the sun in America. This is your America's wonderful spiritual man. It is not their fault. Until one is really spiritual, that is, until one has got a real insight into the nature of one's own soul and has got a glimpse of the world of the soul. One cannot distinguish chaff from seed, tall talk from depth, and so on. I am sorry for poor Mazumdar that he should stoop so low. Lord bless the old boy. The address inside the letter is in English and is my old name as written by a companion of my childhood who has also taken orders. It is a very poetic name. That written in the letter is an abbreviation, the full name being Narendra, meaning the chief of men. Nara means man, and Indra stands for ruler, chief. Very ludicrous, isn't it? But such are the names in our country. We cannot help. But I am glad I have given that up. I am all right, hoping it is same with you. I remain your brother, Vivekananda. 19. To Miss Mary Hale, Detroit, 30th March 1894. Dear Sister, your and Mother Church's letters came together just now, acknowledging the receipt of the money. I am very glad to receive the Khetri letter which I sent back for your perusal. You would find from it that he wants some newspaper clippings. I do not think I have any except the Detroit one, which I will send to him. If you can get hold of some others, kindly send some over to him, if it be possible and convenient. You know his address, H.H. the Maharaja of Khetri, Rajputana, India. Of course, this letter is for the perusal of the Holy Family alone. Mrs. Breed wrote to me a stiff burning letter first, and then today I got a telegram from her inviting me to be her guest for a week. Before this, I got a letter from Mrs. Smith of New York, writing on her behalf, and another lady, Miss Helen Gold, and another doctor to come over to New York. As the Lynn Club wants me on the 17th of next month, I am going to New York first and come in time for their meeting at Lynn. Next summer, if I do not go away, which Mrs. Bagley insists I should not, I may go to Annisquam, where Mrs. Bagley has arranged a nice house. Mrs. Bagley is a very spiritual lady, and Mr. Palmer a spirituous gentleman, but very good. What shall I write more? I am all right in nice health of body and mind. May you all be blessed, ever blessed, my dear sisters. By the by, Mrs. Sherman has presented me with a lot of things, amongst which is a nail set and letter holder and a little satchel, etc., etc. Although I objected, especially to the nail set, as very dudish with mother-of-pearl handles, she insisted and I had to take them, although I do not know what to do with that brushing instrument. Lord bless them all. She gave me one advice, never to wear this a freaky dress in society. Now I am a society man. Lord, what comes next? Long life brings queer experiences. My inexpressible love for you all, my holy family. Your brother, Vivekananda. 20. To Sri Haridas Viharidas Desai, Chicago, 20th June 1894. Dear Divanji Sahib, your very kind note came today. I am so sorry that I could have caused pain to such a noble heart as yours with my rash and strong words. I bow down to your mild corrections. Thy son am I, teach me thus bowing. Gita. But you well know, Devanji Sahib, it was my love that prompted me to say so. The backbiters, I must tell you, have not indirectly benefited me. On the other hand, they have injured me immensely in view of the fact that our Hindu people did not move a finger to tell the Americans that I represented them. Had our people sent some words thanking the American people for their kindness to me and stating that I was representing them, have been telling the American people that I have donned the sannyasin's garb only in America and that I was a cheat, bare and simple. So far as reception goes, it has no effect on the American nation. But so far as helping me with funds goes, it has a terrible effect in making them take off their helping hands from me. And it is 1 year since I have been here, and not one man of note from India has thought it fit to make the Americans know that I am no cheat. There again, the missionaries are always seeking for something against me, and they are busy picking up anything said against me by the Christian papers of India and publishing it here. Now you must know that the people here know every little of the distinction in India between the Christian and the Hindu. Primarily, my coming has been to raise funds for an enterprise of my own. Let me tell it all to you again. The whole difference between the West and the East is in this. They are nations, we are not. That is, civilization, education here is general. It penetrates into the masses. The higher classes in India and America are the same. But the distance is infinite between the lower classes of the two countries. Why was it so easy for the English to conquer India? It was because they are a nation, we are not. When one of our great men dies, we must sit for centuries to have another. They can produce them as fast as they die. When our Divanji Sahib will pass away, which the Lord may delay long for the good of my country, the nation will see the difficulty at once of filling his place, which is seen even now in the fact that they cannot dispense with your services. It is the dearth of great ones. Why so? Because they have such a bigger field of recruiting their great ones. We have so small. A nation of 300 millions has the smallest field of recruiting its great ones compared with nations of 30, 40 or 60 millions, because the number of educated men and women in those nations is so great. Now do not mistake me, my kind friend. This is the great defect in our nation and must be removed. Educate and raise the masses, and thus alone a nation is possible. Our reformers do not see where the wound is. They want to save the nation by marrying the widows. Do you think that a nation is saved by the number of husbands its widows get? Nor is our religion to blame, for an idol more or less makes no difference. The whole defect is here. The real nation who live in cottage have forgotten their manhood, their individuality. Trodden under the foot of the Hindu, Mussulman or Christian, they have come to think that they are born to be trodden under the foot of everybody who has money enough in his pocket. They are to be given back their lost individuality. They are to be educated. Whether idols will remain or not, whether widows will have husbands enough or not, whether caste is good or bad, I do not bother myself with such questions. Every one must work out his own salvation. Our duty is to put the chemicals together. The crystallization will come through God's laws. Let us put ideas into their heads, and they will do the rest. Now this means educating the masses. Here are these difficulties. A pauper government cannot, will not do anything. So no help from that quarter. Even supposing we are in a position to open schools in each village free, still the poor boys would rather go to the plough to earn their living than come to your school. Neither have we the money, nor can we make them come to education. The problem seems hopeless. I have found a way out. It is this. If the mountain does not come to Muhammad, Muhammad must go to the mountain. If the poor cannot come to education, education must reach them at the plough, in the factory, everywhere. How? You have seen my brethren. Now I can get hundreds of such all over India, unselfish, good, and educated. Let these men go from village to village, bringing not only religion to the door of everyone, but also education. So I have a nucleus of organizing the widows also as instructors to our women. Now suppose the villagers after their day's work have come to their village and sitting under a tree or somewhere are smoking and talking the time away. Suppose two of these educated sannyasins get hold of them there and with a camera throw astronomical or other pictures, scenes from different nations, histories, etc. Thus with globes, maps, etc. and all this orally, how much can be done that way, Divanji? It is not that the eye is the only door of knowledge. The ear can do all the same. So they would have ideas and morality and hope for better. Here our work ends. Let them do the rest. What would make the sannyasins do this sacrifice, undertake such a task? Religious enthusiasm. Every new religious wave requires a new center. The old religion can only be revivified by a new center. Hang your dogmas or doctrines, they never pay. It is a character, a life, a center, a God-man that must lead the way. That must be the center round which all other elements will gather themselves and then fall like a tidal wave upon the society, carrying all before it, washing away all impurities. Again, a piece of wood can only easily be cut along the grain. So the old Hinduism can only be reformed through Hinduism and not through the newfangled reform movements. At the same time, the reformers must be able to unite in themselves the culture of both the East and the West. Now, do you not think that you have already seen the nucleus of such a great movement, that you have heard the low rumblings of the coming tidal wave? That center, that God-man to lead was born in India. He was the great Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and round him this band is slowly gathering. They will do the work. Now, Divanji Maharaj, this requires an organization, money, a little at least to set the wheel in motion. Who would have given us money in India? So, Divanji Maharaj, I crossed over to America. You may remember I begged all the money from the poor, and the offers of the rich I would not accept because they could not understand my ideas. Now, lecturing for a year in this country, I could not succeed at all. Of course, I have no wants for myself. In my plan for raising some funds for setting up my work. First, this year is a very bad year in America. Thousands of their poor are without work. Secondly, the missionaries and the Brahmo Samajists try to thwart all my views. Thirdly, a year has rolled by, and our countrymen could not even do so much for me as to say to the American people that I was a real sannyasin and no cheat, and that I represented the Hindu religion. Even this much, the expenditure of a few words, they could not do. Bravo, my countrymen. I love them, Devanji Sahib. Human help I spurned with my foot. He who has been with me through hills and dales, through deserts or forests, will be with me, I hope. If not, some heroic soul would arise some time or other in India, far abler than myself, and carry it out. So I have told you all about it. Divanji, excuse my long letter, my noble friend, one of the few who really feel for me, have real kindness for me. You are at liberty, my friend, to think that I am a dreamer, a visionary, but believe at least that I am sincere to the backbone, and my greatest fault is that I love my country only too well. May you and yours be blessed ever and ever, my noble, noble friend. May the shadow of the Almighty ever rest on all those you love. I offer my eternal gratitude to you. My debt to you is immense, not only because you are my friend, but also because you have all your life served the Lord and your motherland so well. Ever yours in gratitude, Vivekananda.